Workforce plans. Okay, workforce planning is one of the more complex areas to get your head around the A2 criteria. This tends to be because the topic could be deemed to be a little bit wishy-washy. So I'm going to try and break it down into smaller chunks so hopefully you can understand where workforce planning fits in with your AQA BUSS3 paper. A workforce plan is a document detailing how the business will implement its human resources management policy. Now, the workforce plan is part of the ongoing cycle in the organisation. So the workforce plan cycle tends to be that you'll have your corporate objectives, and then you'll carry out your workforce assessment. So you'll look at what skills, for example, you've got in the workforce, any potential gaps you've got in the workforce skills base, and what areas you want to improve in the organisation, what requirements are in the future. Then you look at the transition plan, so things such as what training plans need to be in place, what redeployment plans need to be in place. So these are the things that you consider when the business is growing in the future for part and corporate objectives you've got. And of course then, you actually review the plans you've got and you look at how they feed into the corporate objectives. Do they meet them? Do they enable you to achieve your objectives? And the whole cycle then starts again. So this should be an ongoing process, a consistent cycle. Okay, what are typical components of a workforce plan? Well, every workforce plan really will have these four areas covered. It'll have a recruitment and selection requirements organisation. So it'll look at who you need to recruit and what skills base you need to get into the organisation. It'll look at your training and development requirements of the organisation, so what future training requirements you'll have, and these again will enable you to take your business forward. If you want to retrench, it might have any plans for redundancy and how you're going to outline those redundancy areas. And it'll also have some retraining and redeployment programs, so talking about how you can redeploy, retrain your existing staff in the organisation. Okay, with any workforce plan you're going to have internal and external influences. So some of the internal influences you're going to have are your corporate objectives. So if your objective is to grow, then you may need to increase your recruitment in the organisation. If your objective is to retrench, get smaller, then you may look to set out some redundancy plans. You may set out your production objectives. So for example, if you're going to move to increase the level of capital intensive production in the organisation, then you may need to reduce the number of employees you've got in the organisation. So again, you may want to plan how you're going to do this system and how you're going to utilise the skills of the workforce that you existingly got. Marketing objectives, for example, if you're going to increase the marketing, how's that going to impact on your sales? How's it going to impact on the requirements within your HR department and what you need from the workforce? And of course, ultimately, the amount of money you've got available. External influences are fairly straightforward. Things like market trends, so what stage of the economic cycle are we in? How does that impact potential requirements of the workforce? Ethical considerations, so again, where you're producing the item, how does that impact the customer's ethical issues are going to have an impact on your organisational structure, and obviously how you're going to use your workforce and what you're going to use them for. Technological developments, for example, moving to new technology. So do you need to retrain your staff? Is it going to cause motivational issues because obviously they feel they're going to lose their job with you investing in new technology all the time? Your competitors, so the actions of your competitors, is that going to reduce your profit margins? So then are you going to be forced to look to new productive methods such as capital intensive production? And if you're going to do that, again, what's the impact going to be on the workforce? Do you have increased competition for the skills of the workers? So your existing employees, are you going to be fighting to keep hold of your existing employees? Is this going to increase the price because headhunting is taking place? All factors you've got to consider. Now you're going to get some issues when implementing the workforce planning, and typically you're going to have these three areas. You're going to have the employer-employee relations issues. Now on the positive side, a workforce plan makes them feel part of the decision-making process. It makes them feel more motivated, more included. It's linking to your motivational theories there. However, on the drawback side, doing some sort of workforce planning could make them feel like they're going to lose their position. Why is the organisation planning for the future, and what plans is it setting about? It creates uncertainty, and as you know, one of Maslow's basic expectations is about job security, and if you take that away, then you can be damaging the overall motivation and morale of the workplace. Cost issues. In the long term, you're going to improve your efficiency. Because you're going to improve your efficiency, in theory, you're going to have better training requirements, better staff organisation, better staff structuring. However, how do you know what are going to be the long-term requirements for your training of your staff? Things move quickly. In a changing dynamic market, you don't actually have the skills probably to be able to forecast that far ahead. So how accurate is your plan? And of course your corporate image. Well, actually, you're probably going to be viewed as being quite a caring, sharing employer when you're actually starting to consult with your employees. However, you know, when you make redundancies, how does that impact on the image of the organisation? Does it make it look good? Well, probably not. It's probably going to damage your image in the short term. All major factors you've got to consider with the counter argument that's going on. And of course, then we get into the whole debate of the value of an actual workforce plan. There is some disagreement in the academic world about workforce plans. Some say that they're really good, some say they're not. Typical arguments for tend to be it allows planning for long-term strategic decisions, and that will give you success in the long term. It enables you to make and set strategic objectives that you can actually achieve. And of course, it enables you to make the best use of your resources, and that's your human resources in an organisation. So this is quite a wishy-washy topic, like I said before, but it's quite an important one because it fits in with so many other areas of business, and it's quite vital that you get to use it and think about it. Okay, that's it. You should now be able to assess and implement the workforce plan to an organisation. You should be able to think about how does it impact on the overall decision-making process that goes on within an organisation. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and my YouTube channel. And remember, you can tweet me any areas of business you want me to cover in the future. And check out my website, BeeBusinessBee.co.uk.